Christy, I felt like a caterpillar in a cocoon where I see where I am. I want to get out of this cocoon, but I don't really know how to. There were times during that week that I'm like, I can't do it. I can't, and I put it aside. I was like, I can't quite do it. But when I finally made myself go through the whole thing, at that point, I felt like the chrysalis who had burst through the cocoon. My wings were still wet and I didn't know how to fly, but I saw the power of the program and I saw what could be. I was in a call with you a few weeks later where you so brilliantly called me out on the fact that I anticipate hell. It's true. I did not know that was my MO in life in general. I also didn't realize that the level of anxiety that comes with living like that. I know 100%, no doubt in my mind, that this program transformed my life and that I am a different person. So my name in French, René, means born again. And I truly feel like I was born again, like I am a different woman.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. Welcome to the Pay Raise Playbook, where we assist you with getting to the next level personally and professionally by sharing insight with you so you can have the courage and clarity to stop avoiding the hard things and take the actions that scare you. While you're here, go ahead and like and subscribe to this podcast because I am sure you're going to love it. Let's go ahead and get started.
Welcome everyone to the Pay Raise Playbook. I'm your host, Christy Rutherford, and today we have the amazing and phenomenal and finest wine, René Little. So let me tell you about René right quick. René is the owner of Soleil. Is it Soleil or Soleil? Soleil.
It is Soleil, which means
okay, I got it right.
Sun in French.
Oh, okay. Soleil concierge.
Close. Conseiller. But I don't expect you to get that.
It's a boutique project management consulting firm with over 25 years of experience in leading global IT projects and multicultural teams. René has a distinguished career managing global teams based in Australia, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and the United States. Her expertise spans industries such as biopharma, higher education, financial services, telecom, localization, healthcare, and government, and she excels in managing complex multi-million-dollar projects and digital transformations. She's also a certified specialist of wine with the Society of Wine Educators and holds an intermediate level wine certificate with the Wine and Spirit Education Trust based out of London. Okay, bougie. She has a wine company called Soleil Sommelier, where she helps foreign wine producers in lesser known regions export their wine to the United States, teaches bilingual wine classes, and curates a wine and food blog. She is a polyglot. I don't know what that is. You gotta tell me, what is that?
As someone who speaks more than one language.
Oh.
Multiple languages.
Did I say it right? Polyglot?
But yeah.
No, I didn't know that. She speaks fluent French, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish, and has a working knowledge of German and is currently learning Greek. She has lived in Europe twice and is a globetrotter who's always planning her next trip when she's on a trip. So she has 1,000,000 degrees. She didn't want me to read them, but I'm going to read them. Anyway, University of Denver, International Studies, Northeastern in Business Management, University of Phoenix, Business Management, Leonardo da Vinci School, Rome, Italy, in Advanced Italian, French Ministry of Education, a diploma, a degree in French, because I was trying to read that in French. That ain't going to work. All right, welcome, René.
Hi, Christy. Hi, everybody.
My God, interview's over. We spent an hour on René's resume and like how great she is. It's over. Everybody click off. It's done. So, all right, René. So, well, I know this about y'all. I just know different stories about y'all. I don't know you got all that going on in the background.
I know. I just never felt the need to, highlight it.
Is all this in your LinkedIn profile? Because I read your profile.
No, because it just seems so separate, not related to what I do professionally. My main thing,
All right, we'll talk about that when we click off. So, all right, so René, chose to work with us over here at Vision Finder International. What was going on with you? I can't remember. It was what's this month?
It was back in April. Back in April.
Okay, it's like 5 months ago. So you fresh out in these streets.
Yeah.
So what was going on with you in April when you reached out to us over here?
Well, I was at a crossroads professionally, and I had been following you on LinkedIn and on YouTube for about a year, and I completely believed in your program and your ability to be able to help women. I saw how you helped yourself first, so like you were your own guinea pig. And then I saw in all your client stories that I watched how you had helped these women transform their lives. And so I knew for a while that your program was unlike any other. I hesitated to do anything about it, but then in April I hit this crossroads, and I at that point decided that I really wanted to launch my business, Soleil officially, because it's been out there for a while, but I wanted to launch it officially, and I realized that I needed help to step into my power fully for myself, and then also for my new future clients.
Okay, great. So what was the most surprising thing to you when you looked at you as a part of the work, right? Like, what was your biggest aha with how you were showing up when you I don't know how I want to ask this question. Yeah, what was like when you started to do the work and you start, because a part of our program is self-discovery, right? And so it's like, I always say, y'all don't know how great you are because we're always like stuck in other things. And so I'm not asking you to dig into the crates on your stuff. We ain't doing that here. But I just want to know, like, when you started to look in the mirror and started to own like how you were showing up, what was one of the most shocking things that you learned about yourself?
So you had a saying in one of the earlier models that we need to know, learn, do, and be. And I've always been into self-improvement. I've always been into personal growth. I have books and books in some of these shelves that you're seeing. And so I was always learning, and based on that knew and was doing to some extent. But I wasn't doing fully, and I wasn't being. And so I realized what was one of the revelations was, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in this kind of like circle of just learning and knowing, but not really doing much with it. And that if I wanted to get to the next level, I needed to practice, and so that I could become this transformed, this new person. Some aha moments as I was going through each week. So from the get-go, the very first lesson, those very first days, I realized, oh my goodness, this program is amazing. But it was overwhelming at the same time, because you're taking in this information, you're seeing how much you need to, how much work you really need to do to get yourself to a better point. And so it can be very well overwhelming. But with each week, so I felt kind of like, Christy, I felt like a caterpillar in a cocoon, where like I see where I am, I want to get out of this cocoon, but I don't really know how to. And so one of my aha moments was in a session, a weekly call with Celestine, who made an observation about something that I said and just how I was showing up in that meeting. And I was rather surprised by it and wasn't sure I agreed with her. And so she gave me some homework. She gave me some homework in that weekly call. And that homework was so powerful that it was hard. it was some deep, deep, deep work that she wanted me to do. And there were times during that week that I'm like, I can't do it. I can't, and I put it aside. I'm like, I can't quite do it. But when I finally made myself go through the whole thing, which took about a week, that was like my first major aha moment. That was when at that point, I felt like the chrysalis who had burst through the cocoon. My wings were still wet and I didn't know how to fly, but I saw the power of the program and I saw what could be. That was my first aha moment. Can I share my second aha moment with you? Nope.
No. Yeah, share it, and then we're going to unpack both of them. Go ahead.
Okay, so then the second one was when I was in a call with you a few weeks later, where you so brilliantly called me out on the fact that I anticipate hell. And I again, first was like, no, it served me very well in my life. First of all, it was a survival mechanism when I was a kid and had to figure out my escape routes as I was, trying to get off the bus. And then as a project manager, risk management is an important part of what I do. And I'm really good at it. I'm really good at anticipating and thinking of everything that can go wrong and then some. And so I was like, I don't see the problem with this. and then I had to laugh after you pointed out and I chewed on it a bit. And I realized, what kind of way is this to live your life? I mean, really? I was doing it without realizing, and it was who I was. I did it all of the time. And it made me think. It made me stop and realize I don't want to do this anymore. So those are major two aha moments.
We can unpack that for the next 40 minutes. So great. So here's the thing. Well, I mean, so you talked about it. You said, know, learn, do, be. Now, the challenge with high achieving women, nerdy women, i.e. you and me, I got a million degrees, right? We don't need all that. But we know, we learn. We know, we learn. We know, we learn. We do a little bit of it, Renee. Mm-hmm. We ain't even going to do all of it. Can you put yourself on mute? Because you got the...
I got that.
Okay, go ahead. You can come back. So, we know, we learn, we do a little bit of it. But you know what we do the most of, Renee? We give advice to other people on what they should do. Because we ain't going to do it because we know it. And then we know, and then we learn, and we do a little bit, but most of it, we give the advice away for other people to be free. And that's the cycle that we're stuck in. Like when I talk to women, they be like, oh, I'm going to read another book. I be like, hey man, stop reading these books. Just stop it. How about you just do what you learned? I got a book. I can't even imagine how thick it was. Oh, there's a book right here. It's right here. So I got this book right here. I bought a book on stress that was like this thick when I was stressed out and crazy. You ain't read that book. But I bought it over there because I planned on managing my stress. I'm going to read it. I want the 300-page. I ain't read that book. I was like, I ain't got time for that. I got to go over here and win. And it ended up burning out. It was crazy. And so it's like, what we need to do is start doing what we telling other people to do. Because we know what to do. We ain't doing it though. But the difference in what we do over here, and then you can off mute, is like we hold you accountable to doing it long enough so you can become the information, right? And that's the thing about I would say that's hard to work with high achieving women. I love y'all though, because we got to try to wrestle down and get boss women to surrender to actually take care of themselves and do something long enough to be able to get the result. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's to be still enough to take in what you learn, to really think on it, sit with it, and then put it into practice. It's challenging because we're busy. We're just too busy running around doing stuff. And on this program, I realized I truly realized knowing and learning it's not enough. What's all of this head knowledge doing me? What good is it doing me? It's not doing me any good. And with the way you have the program set up, we really do practice being and like personifying, learning to personify and embody what we learn. And it took a week or two to try, to really get that. But once I did, I realized the power of it.
I'm laughing because somebody just asked in the comments, what if you do when you get overwhelmed? Did you not hear her say that was her first aha? When we held her feet to the fire, Celeste was like, do it. You were like, oh my God. Oh my God. So just walk us through the emotions. You ain't got to tell us what Celeste told you to do, but walk us through the emotions of you actually doing something for yourself long enough, right? Yeah. Like that's the agony that the question was just asked. Like, I'm going to get overwhelmed. It's like, of course you are, because you're doing it for you and not for other people. Go ahead.
Yeah. It really is just saying it's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult, but I want to see this through. And I want to, whatever comes with this, going through this process, I'm strong enough to do it. And I have the tools to help me do it. And just not backing off from it. It's just making the decision to do it and just seeing it through. And seeing it through, even though it's hard, and even though there might be some tears, even though there might be, it's very emotional. It's a very, very emotional experience. But allowing myself to go through those emotional experiences and those emotions, I should say.
Well, so let's talk about the 4 stages of learning. I was like, I don't think I put this in VFM. We're going to clip this part. Marty, clip this part. We're going to clip this part and then put it in the program. So, and I think maybe I teach it. I can't remember. You're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. We don't know. We don't know. So we walk around unconsciously incompetent in a lot of things. Now, we know a lot of stuff, Renee. We're brilliant. I read your bio. We'd be here all day. I mean, I'm sure that was a short version, right? But when it comes to knowing ourselves, we know our work self. We know how we show up at work. We don't really know ourselves to the deep cellular level because we left this person behind to go chase success. So, and we ain't got time to come over here and clean up our stuff because we at work and we're busy and we're attached to doing things and the external achievements, whatever, right? Then you become what our goal is to make you consciously incompetent. Now you know what you don't know. You'll be like, my God, oh. I can't believe it. like I
know this.
I can't. How have I lived 15, 20 years of my life like this? That's when you start crying. Oh, I can't believe I've been living this way. Why, Lord? Why? So I always say, if you don't have it in your face 3-4 weeks, y'all ain't digging deep enough. You'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been living, because it's all within you. All we're trying to do is that my thing that just went out or her thing. Okay, you and my Wi-Fi tripping. I think I got bootleg Wi-Fi, so we getting it fixed on Sunday. Okay, we're good. All we're trying to do is get you to see how great you are. That's it. I mean, for God's sakes. But the process of getting y'all to own how great, I just read your whole bio, getting you to own that person is like, we need God to show up and assist. Like, Lord, please help me with these women. Because this is like, we're just trying to get you to own how great you are. But it's like, you got to let go. You got to see that you're stuck in. You got to see the conversation that you're having with yourself. You got to see like the stuff that you're saying to yourself, and then we'll come into, like you were living a life based on risk management because you were bullied as a kid. And so you needed to know, when I get off the bus, if I go down this street, they're not going to be here. Or if they down this street, then I got, like, you was just trying to plan all your escape routes So you didn't get beat up. You didn't know, Renee, that you carried that all the way into your adulthood. You built your career based on your trauma. Like, you chose your profession because you're really good at it. You assess all variables. You can mitigate all the damages. That's your beingness. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
It's true. I did not know that was my MO in life in general. I also didn't realize that the level of anxiety that comes with living like that. Mm-hmm. The level of anxiety is constantly high because you are waiting for the shoe to drop. You are always looking around for that danger that lurks out there, and what are you going to do about it?
Oh, you're hollering now because you didn't know you was living like that. Now you're like, oh my God. Yeah.
It was.
I missed out on so many opportunities. Go ahead.
And I realized that the energy that I was spending anticipating hell and, trying to think of ways to avoid it, that I could have been using that energy for other things that were more productive and more beneficial. But I didn't know. And when you put it that way, anticipating hell, from that point on, I said, no, I'm not living like this. And from that point on, I was aware and I could catch myself doing it. And it was crazy to realize, whoa, do I really do it like most of the day? And I'm proud to say that after 4 months on this program, and even before I got to this point, that was no longer the case. I had got to the point where I stopped. I mean, not 100%. Sometimes I still, slip into it, but it is not my normal way of living anymore. I was freed from that.
So the next stage, so we have unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. Consciously incompetent. You now know what you don't know. Then you become consciously competent. Now you're like, now you know, now you have to do something. So when you catch yourself, you be like, is that true, Renee? Renee, is that true? Because you got to talk yourself out of it because it's a part of your DNA. It's a part of like your neural pathways, like that script. Like I always talk about the tape player. That tape player is playing loud. You now have to answer yourself and be like, well, maybe, I told you that. What's the best that could happen? Because you always went to what's the worst that could happen. And you plan your whole day on like all hell breaking loose and it was insane, right? Like I want to tell the story right quick. When they was talking about traveling and what, like, you remember what you even said? Like I didn't, because we didn't know, but let me back up real quick. The goal is to figure out y'all's trauma default. What is your default response to conflict? What's your default response to stress? What's your default response? So the whole goal of what we do is to try to figure out what is your default response to stress or anxiety or, conflict. Once we figure out what that is, then we have to figure out where it came from, how it's showing up in every area of your life, and then give you something new to now be able to go out and then change that. So once we figured out, I was like, that's how you live it. You live like that. You was like, what? Now now you can consciously change it. But go ahead. Do you want to tell the story right quick? You ain't got to tell the story. It's hysterical.
It is. So, I mean, it first started when we first talked about me joining this program. And I told you, I'm going to be going out of town for a month, in less than a month. So I'll just wait till I get back and start. And yeah, you laughed at that idea. And you're like, do you realize the person you could be in those 4 weeks before you go? So I thought, okay, she's right. That makes sense. I'll get started because then I'll just be further along. And then I had decided, and to me it was perfectly logical, that I would wait. So I did 3 or 4 weeks and then I was going to be gone for a while. And so it made perfect sense to me to wait until I got back to finish the last 4 weeks. And again, you told me that didn't make any sense and asked me, do you realize in those 4 weeks that you're gone, how different you can be? How different you could be if you continued the program while you were gone. And I pushed back on that because to me, it didn't make sense. I was going to be in a different time zone, 7 hours ahead, and the calls would be like at 1 or 2 in the morning in my time zone, and trying to do the homework. I just thought, no, this is going to put pressure under me. I'm going to be stressed out. I'm not going to do this on my vacation. But anyway, you convinced me to go ahead and stick to it. And part of what convinced me, Christy, is you were so passionate about it. And I was impressed because I thought you were really concerned about me. It wasn't about the money. You had that already. And I realized she honestly cares about how I could be setting myself back if I don't continue and follow the program while I'm gone. And that truly touched me and made me realize, if she thinks I'm going to benefit that much if I continue, and how I will not benefit and how I will stagnate if I don't, if I do, put this on pause, then I should probably listen to her. And so I continued. And I was calling in from Greece, and I was calling in from Italy, and, the wee hours of the morning with my little night bonnet on. But I enjoyed those calls, and I did the homework during the week.
Hey, Christy Rutherford here. Wanted to see if you have already joined us in my mentorship community. If not, I'm not sure what else to do, and what are you waiting for? If you're tired of being stuck and overwhelmed, if you're tired of going in circles, if you can't figure out how to get to the next level despite the gazillion degrees that you have and the 15 to 20 years experience that you're walking around with, the untapped, unmonetized intellectual property, it's time to do something different. So get off the fence, join us in this community, allow me to mentor you and hold you accountable to the things that you say that you want in your life. Join us in this community, use the information, get your money. It's not that hard. $15 million in salary raises since 2020 is some of the toughest economic times. People are winning, why not you?
So what's funny is like when I got on the call, cause Celestine, we was like, you doing an intervention on me, right? Like Celestine called you out your coach, told you don't do it. Monica called you. I sent people to call you because I was traveling. I ain't had time. And this lady was like convinced she was going to take time off. I'm cussing in the background like, what's wrong with her? Marty emailed you. Right? Like, so what I thought was, because you was like, oh, I'm going to start in a month from now. Look, and what I tell René, I talk to a lot of women. I'm like, I used to think that women were lying to me when they said that they were going to come back. Then I learned they were really just lying to themselves, right? Like, they're like, because you ain't coming. Like only one woman out of the 8,000 women that I've talked to actually came back when they said I'm gonna take a break, and she came back, actually two, because they were so crazier. I know that ain't a word, but they were so crazy to the 10th power that they finally surrendered. It's like, all right, fine, come on over here. So I was like, okay, so if I can at least get her to start, then she won't want to take the break. We get you getting your breakthroughs. This lady want to take the break anyway. I said, what in the world, right? Like you got momentum going, you open it up, you follow the process, and you like, I'm gonna take a break. For what? To go on vacation? Can you see how I'm getting loud? That's when they say it's passion. I was like, what? So I got on the phone and I was like, tell me about it. And you had me cracking up. You was like, look, this lady already got my money. Like, what is wrong with her? Why is she harassing me? She got my money. Why you harassing me, right? And I'm like, do you not understand it? You were so passionate about it. I decided to stay, but you were like, well, what if, I'm flying, and what if, I don't know, you was like, oh, what if the wheel falls off the plane or something, and I won't be able to make it to the call? And I'm like, and you said something else. You was like, well, okay, what about the next week? Because we talk about 4 weeks. Well, the following week I'm going to be in so-and-so, and what if the Wi-Fi isn't good? I was like, Like the stuff that you were saying, I was like, what is she even talking about? Like, what is the probability? Oh, okay. You go forward to explore the worst case scenario, and then you bring it back to reality and make your decisions based on that. You were like, yeah, pretty much. I said, oh, anticipate hell. What if you said the flight is going to be on time? You bougie. We just read your thing. So you're already in first class. But what if I get upgraded, I don't know, to like the premium deluxe, whatever? What if you, Renee, just started to shift your perspective? I almost wanted to call this how to reframe your life, but it wasn't that popular in the SEO. All you did, once you realized that, when you became consciously competent, now you know what you don't know, and now you have to do something to like change it. Once you became aware of that, then it's like whenever you catch yourself, you're like, no, what's the best that can happen? And then you make your decision based on that. And then the next time it happens, because it proliferates your entire life, right? No, stop. I'm not going to go there. What's the best that can happen? So walk us through, a couple of scenarios of how you started to do that. And then what was the result of you owning your narrative?
A few scenarios where I stopped thinking the worst. Sheesh. Here's one. Okay, this is kind of funny. So, when I travel now, I put air tags in my bags, right? So that I can see where my bags are. And so this is how bad I am in anticipating hell, right? So I got on a flight, my connecting flight in London. I'm checking my bags, and I notice the bag is not with me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going on? And what's going to happen when I get to Milan? And because then I had to drive 4 hours to get to the Cinque Terre. And I was starting to panic. I'm in the plane. I'm in first class, like you said. And I'm starting to panic, like, what's going on? And so I told myself, don't panic, Renee. I'm sure it's okay. Just enjoy the flight, because right now, if not, you're going to get in your head and you are going to just come up with all kinds of crazy scenarios. Now, actually, in this case, Christy, it was the crazy scenario. They had left my bag. And I won't even tell you the chaos that ensued from that whole thing. So then, after that, I had my next flight, because I was flying all over the place. And the next flight I got on, I'm like, see it? I should have looked at that bag, and I should have spoke to a person on the plane saying my bag's not with me. So I got on the plane, and I was looking to see where my bags were. That flight ended up being okay. My bags came with me. The next flight, I got on the plane, was like checking to see if my bags were with me, and there seemed to be a little delay, and I was starting to get nervous, and I was starting to panic. And then I said, you know what? I am not doing this my whole daggone trip, because I'm going to be bouncing around all these different places in Italy and all these different flights in Turkey. And I just really, after a while, said, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. If my bags get there, they get there. And if they don't, I will deal with it at the time. I am not going to spend my whole time on these flights freaking out about, are my bags with me? And that was powerful for me to say, you know what? Just let things happen. You do not have to ruin the rest of your trip instead of sitting back and enjoying a nice meal and reading a book or whatever, worrying about if your bags are with you.
No, that's good, because what I wrote down was like, you're missing the moments. You're missing your present moment, which is great, anticipating hell. Yes. Right? And then when hell happens, I mean, you almost created it by law of attraction, but whatever. We ain't gonna go there. That's another lesson. But like when hell happens, you kind of like you're almost satisfied in it, because you knew it was gonna happen and you waited for it. Huh?
Like I told you so. I knew it was gonna go south.
Yeah. And so now you proved yourself right, which is hell, right? And you missed. And then the next trip, oh my God, I better check my bags. I'm going to go up to the desk and make sure, ma'am, can you make sure? Because last time my bag wasn't on the plane and I had to sit in my drawers for 4 days and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, so now you've missed a month of moments that should be peace, as opposed to understanding that, you know what? You got money. You bougie. If my bags don't get there, I go buy some toiletries or whatever, some underwear. It's got to be okay. And now you can live in the moment in peace and enjoy the first class lounge with the shower and the bar with the double decker playing, because I know you extra bougie, right? Like, with your wine, that Renee's wine, your own wine. So then we shift into unconsciously competent, which is this becomes you're just competent and you're unaware of it. So, but that takes time. That takes you doing it again and again and again and again, and then over time, this just becomes your normal, right? So, do you think you would have really came back, Renee? When you say, I don't know if I want to start, this is in the beginning, not you and your break. But in the beginning, would you have come back after your trip, or would you have just done something different?
I'd like to believe that I would have come back. But yeah, I mean, I never even thought about that. Maybe I wouldn't have. I'd like to believe I would have, because I truly believed in your program. But would I have been distracted by some other shiny toy? I never thought of that. Yeah, I do believe I would have come back from my break. But yeah, would I have even started?
So what is the yielding to the experts, right? Which is hard for strong, high achieving, bossy to the boss, highly educated women who know everything, right? Like what do you think, like, your result would have been? Do you think you would have lost? Because I want you to reflect on it just a little bit. And I ain't ask all these questions up front yet. Like, I don't know what I'm asked. But now that you know, when you just continue to go through, and then all your stuff started to like happen, like the catapult, it comes after like week 5. That's when like week 6 and week 7, week 8, everything is released. How do you think your results would have been different had you taken that 1 month break? Because you were in momentum. That's like the caterpillar breaking out of the shell into I'm gonna go back in for another month. It's like, what? You were strong enough. Go ahead.
I would not have had the same results. I would not have had the same outcome. So I said that, after some of my aha moments, I was like, I was that butterfly that had made it out of my cocoon, but my wings were wet and I didn't know how to fly. And I think the wings would have dried up and I would have fallen to the ground. I would not have learned how to fly if I had taken that month break. I think that I don't know that I would have had the results at all, to tell you the truth, because I think losing that momentum would have been like the death knell.
Tell us about, because a lot of women want to work with me and be like, I have a team, and y'all don't want me for 8 weeks. I like y'all though, but because Celestine is a little bit more giving. She's nice. What was your experience with one of our qualified coaches, and then what was your experience with the community in general?
So my coach was Celestine, coachess with the mostest, and she was just the person I needed. So Celestine knows her stuff. She's firm. She doesn't back down. When she sees that you're taking the wrong path, she's incredibly perceptive. But if she sees something that you need to work on, she will tell you. And no matter how I countered what she said, she insisted, and so she was just what I needed. And then the group, felt like a safe place for me. It felt like a safe place for me to share what I needed to share. And it really felt like a sisterhood, and that I was with other women. And we all had our different situations, but we all were striving to overcome some of these things that had basically become things that were more to our detriment in our lives, without us really realizing it. And so, yeah, I felt like you were marching towards improvement with a cohort of women who were doing the same.
So I forgot the question I wanted to ask. It was good too. Hold on, I ain't gonna pause too long. You'd be like, oh my God, it was so good. I want to, what advice do you have for women who, because do you feel like you hit a reset on your life? Like I remember you saying something like, I didn't know that this life here was possible, right? Like, so I want you to talk about that, and then what's possible for other women, and then what's one or two things that women can do to be able to, like refresh where they are right now. Go ahead.
So I know 100%, no doubt in my mind, that this program transformed my life and that I am a different person. So my name in French, René, means born again. And I truly feel like I was born again. Like I am a different woman. And I have different expectations now about my life. For example, I expect good to happen. Instead of me anticipating hell, I expect every day good things that happen to me, like one of the affirmation cards. And I start my day saying that, and then I look for the good. I look for it. I want it. It's going to happen. And when I see it, I call it out. I say, that's my good thing for the day. And then sometimes I'm lucky and I get more than one good thing, but I expect it. I also expect to have peace in my life and harmony, and I fight for it because life happens, and sometimes some days aren't as good as others. And when I have days like that, I take a step back and say, okay, what do I need to make sure that I have some level of peace in my day? It is not acceptable for me now not to have peace in my day. It is not acceptable for me not to have joy in my day. And so that is completely different. Before, you just kind of like settle. Okay, whatever. Before, people ask you, how you doing? And you say, oh, I'm surviving. I don't say that. It's like, that's not enough. I want to be thriving. And I can thrive, and I do thrive. So just surviving is not at all acceptable. I want more than that. I want better than that. And I get better than that because it's all about what we put out there, right? As a man thinketh, and the energy that we put out is what we draw back, what we draw to us. And so that's the energy I put out. I get peace, I get harmony, I get, good things, and it happens. And then your question of what would I say to other women is that you are your most valuable asset. And being your most valuable asset, you should invest in yourself. You should take care of yourself. So just like if you have a house, that's an asset. You renovate, you maintain that asset, make sure it doesn't fall apart. You renovate that asset, you redecorate that asset appreciates because of the effort you put into it. And how much more so should we be doing that kind of thing to ourselves? Why would we settle for anything less?
I have been waiting for this story to be told since April. I was like, my God, if we can get this. We're passionate about transformation. My God, if I can drag this lady over the finish line, for heaven's sakes, when we did the call, it was me and you and Lisa on Monday. And then I made a post on Tuesday, like, y'all gave me the last little thing I needed to clock back in. Because I was like, I'm done. I've been fighting too long. Woe is me. Woe is my soul. Eyes is tired, baby. But y'all reminded me, like why we do what we do. But it's like what I wanted to say earlier that I forgot. My coaches are my former clients. You know who y'all can be, right? We know the transformation because they are it. They are a representation of the work. They are renewed. They are transformed. They are happy. And it's not necessarily transformation, Renee, as much as it is remembering. Like, we're not teaching y'all to be anybody other than who you are. Oh, we just got to work to break through the shell of who life told you that you were, who your past told you that you were, who your past, traumatic experiences of being bullied made you. But that's not who you are at the core. So our goal is just to dig y'all up, clean you up a little bit. And then once you see, pause, make sure that ain't my Wi-Fi. Like, once you see who you are, it's game over after that, right? Like, that's all our goal is once you can see, I am Renee, whose name means renewal. What's your name mean again? How you say your name?
Born again, honey.
Honey. Her name is Renee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and from this standpoint, you will now build your life, right? So this is when we build our life on rock. The rock is who we are, who God made us. Like, this is who God made you, not who life made you. So my coaches are my former clients. So we're trying to get you to something that you're not aware of, right? And so I was talking to a client, the one who she did like 2.2 million US dollars since January, right? We're talking the other day. She couldn't stand me last year. She got that monthly call because I challenged her to stop telling the sob story, get her life right. You know what I mean? Like, you better get your life together. I want to hear it. And so once she stopped and looked in the mirror and then did the work over again, consistent, which is what we talked about. Like, once you become consistent in your actions, all these things started to happen, right? And it's like she didn't know when I was saying you can be happier. She didn't understand. She was giving me the heavy eye roll of your life can be different. You talked about it. You expect good things, peace, and happiness. She didn't really believe that, even though she went through the program and we challenged her. So what I want to always encourage women, when I tell women they can have a good job, they'll believe that. When I'm like, y'all can actually have peace too, then I'm a fraud. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? Like, they're not mutually exclusive. Like, why should we believe that we can have a better job more than we can believe that we can have peace? We in trouble. So I appreciate you, Renee, for showing up and sharing your story, because like we talked about earlier before we jumped on the line, was like, I want women to believe that their lives can be completely different at 50 something. I don't know how old you are. I ain't saying your age. I'm 49. But I want women to believe that your life can be so much more and so much greater than what it is right now. But y'all have to do something. You can't wait for them to do it. You can't wait for your family to give you permission. And you can't wait for life to get better, because life is always going to be lifing. Life is always going to come punch you in the stomach. And I just think that, women have gotten to a point now, Renee, they can't handle another punch. They can't manage losing like anybody in their family. It's over. So the days of living on stilts, the days on living on popsicle sticks and duct taping yourself together to see what's going to happen is over. I got on my soapbox. Let me get off. Y'all got to want to be greater for yourself first. Then you can be greater for everybody else. But we want to be greater for everybody. And then we over here looking like Chicken Little, right? So anyway, what are your thoughts on, let me get off my soapbox. You see I'm getting loud. What advice do you have for women, Renee? What's one habit that you instilled in your life that, women can do today with no money and create something better for themselves?
For me, it's been, first of all, it has to be consistency. Whatever you are doing for yourself truly has to be a priority, and it has to be a practice. It can't be hit and miss. If it's hit and miss, it's not going to do you any good. You really are not going to benefit. And so for me, I have daily practice. Even when I was on my trip, I have my journal that you gave me. I have my affirmation cards, and these are things that I do as a daily part. That's how I start my day, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And if I have some routines that I like to do when I have the time, that's maybe more like an hour. And sometimes I'm busy and I can't do an hour. But I make sure, okay, well then maybe today it's just 15 minutes. And in these 15 minutes, I'm going to make sure I do these things. But I would say whatever you are doing that helps you on this path of self-improvement, don't just do it halfway, and don't just do it some of the time. If you want the benefit, it has to be every single day.
Okay. Okay. Last question, then we're going to jump out of here. What advice do you have for women who are on the fence and wonder whether or not they should work with us over here at Vision Fund International? What advice do you have for them?
Get off the fence. You will see the life you can have on the other side is amazing. I am a different person than I was when I started in April, and even before the halfway point, I myself saw the difference, and I myself at that point was convinced, yes, by the end of this, I will be a different person. And you never graduate. I know I finished the program this week, but you never graduate because you have to keep putting in the work. You have to keep doing this on a daily basis. But I would say love yourself enough to take that plunge, believe that you deserve a better life, because it is totally possible. And you're on mute.
I was doing too much. I was trying to multitask. So I had my upcoming virtual event is next Saturday, Salary Increase Secrets. Y'all can join me here using this link. So that's what salaryIncreaseSecrets.com. What we talk about, is not just about getting the money. Now we do want our money, Renee. I want to be clear. But it's also about living a better quality of life. So again, you said you have to fight for it, and living in misery and hell is no longer acceptable to you. I took notes.
I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
I won't go back. I won't go back.
I've tasted how good it could be. I am not going back. Oh no.
Well, I am grateful again for you to show up, for you showing up and sharing your insight and being vulnerable, right? Again, I just want women to know through experiences. It's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing for me to show you the fruit of the word, to show you that you can be happy and you don't have to live a half-lived life. No matter, where you are in life, you could be different, but it's going to take you making the decision that you're worth it. So Renee, don't hang up. Everybody, y'all, holla. See y'all soon. Subscribe, like, and subscribe to this podcast, and we will catch y'all in the next episode. Deuces.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Your support is greatly appreciated. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. What I want you to ponder on this week: what is your greatest takeaway from this episode, and what is one action you're going to take to change your life for the better? Lastly, get your pay gap calculator to see how your pay compares to the market value of what others are getting paid. Text pay gap, all one word, to 66866. Again, pay gap to 66866, or use the link below this video or podcast. Get this insight, use it, and get paid what you desire and deserve. See you in the next episode.